What's going on, y'all? So we're back for another book review today, and this is the second book review on the channel, so that's exciting. And today's book is probably one of the most frustrating yet enjoyable experiences I've had reading in quite some time, and that is book one of the Southern Reach Trilogy, Jeff Vandermeer's Annihilation. Now let me tell you, this book is so frustrating and so enjoyable at the same time. And like I said, we're going to get into all that, but let's start with the plot. So essentially, it's a science fiction book set on Earth. So there's this mysterious anomaly that's like wilderness that has appeared. And the group, like the government agency that has been put in charge of exploring it, maintaining it, and discovering it, and like find out what's going on there, where it came from, all these things, is the Southern Reach. And the Southern Reach does this by sending expeditions in. So far there's been 12 expeditions, or 11 expeditions, and we follow the 12th. The expeditions have not gone well at all. The first went well. They came back and they talked about it's just pristine wilderness, and there's some strange things, there was towns, and there's weird like geographical anomalies and tons of wildlife and stuff, but they said it was pristine and it was just a beautiful wilderness. The second did not go so well. It ended with a mass suicide. The third, I believe, was all males. They lost it and they turned on each other, and it ended in a gunfight, killing everyone, I believe. And the most recent expedition, the 11th, so everybody came back, but they were just husk of their former selves, and they died of an aggressive form of cancer within weeks. So, expedition number 12, we follow our 4 characters who are of no name and only of position. We follow the surveyor, the anthropologist, the team lead, our psychologist, and our 4th member and our protagonist for this book, the biologist. And like I said, it's about their journey of the 12th expedition into Area X, and trying to figure out what mysteries it holds and what there is to be discovered there. So let's get right into the pros and cons. We're going to start with the cons as usual. I know a lot of people enjoy deep characters and people they can connect with. You're not going to get that in this book. Maybe later in the series you will, and like I said, I'll go into that in a little bit. But don't expect deep characters that you can connect with. They're not. This book's written like a first-person science report, because it's from the first person of the biologist. And again, her character a little more in just a moment. But there's not a whole lot of character depth. It's more of like, this happened, this was my thought, this is what I was thinking. And like very like analytical, very impersonal writing, which is exactly what it's supposed to be, because this is, I believe, is supposed to be the journal that each member keeps when they're on their expedition. So it's written exactly how it should be as a creative and directive for that story. But I think it's going to turn a lot of people off from the book. So that's something that I think a lot of people are going to have. And like I said, it makes sense from the character's point of view, because the biologist, what character depth you do get, she's very much a loner. She's pretty impersonal. She's pretty reserved. Even when she talks about her life before Area X in the book, she's just a loner. She likes to be with nature, and so she's very shy and backwards and almost awkward. So like, it's from her first person point of view, she's not going to reveal a lot about her like inner feelings and all this, because that's who she is as a person. And like I said, something else I want to make sure that people know is that this book is dry. Like, it's not something that you should go in expecting a super exciting book. Now, I love the series and it's great, and honestly, this, I think, is truly a perfect book one for this series, and it's excellent. But that takes a lot of looking back on and understanding the foundation that it lays. But it's dry. It's backloaded, so like, I think the last 50 pages you're going to get a lot and you're going to be really interested. But you're going to have to get through that first one, which is a lot of just like I said, this is such an odd situation that you kind of need that first little bit to get acclimated to the situation, kind of understand even what's going on, because it's just so bizarre and so out there. Another thing is this whole book is about mystery, and the mystery of Area X, the mystery of the people there, the mystery of the people who are sent them there. You're not going to get answers. This is book 1 of a trilogy. Like, don't expect things to get wrapped up nice and neat, because you're not going to get most of the answers that you want from this book. And that's going to frustrate a lot of people, I feel like, especially if they don't want to commit to reading a trilogy, because like that's not something that a lot of people want to do. So don't be expecting answers, because you're not going to get them. So let's talk about the pros. Like I said, personally, I like the style of writing. I think it was interesting, and like it was a nice creative choice. But like I said, con-wise, I think for a lot of people that's not going to be the case. But for me, I appreciated that, and I like that distinct way of doing things, because it stands out. It's different. It's going to be something that's going to stick with you in your own memory, like you're going to remember it. It's memorable. Next, I think that this mystery is so intriguing because there's so much you don't know. And for me, I love a good mystery. And like I said, a lot of the things, as if you decide to read this trilogy, they're so interconnected. These books, the characters, everything is packaged so nicely. And I love books that are able to make me like think and make me ponder, like go on my own little tangents and try to figure out what's going on. So like I said, you're gonna get all that. This book is just question heavy, and it's so fascinating. And like I love it's not like there's like world building, but I love the world that's built within Area X and the whole mystery of it. Like I said, another big pro I think for this book is that it's short. It's clocks in at 190 pages, so like it's not a big commitment. If you don't like it, you can finish it. And like I said, if you finish the first one, you might as well read on the second one, because as a series, it's not a big long thing with these huge books. Like I said, the first one's under 200 pages, so you can crank it out. You read 10-15 pages a day, which is going to take you 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Then you can have this book done in 2 weeks and decide whether you want to go on or not. So it's not a big commitment. And like I said, I think it's got a lot in there. It's going to appeal to a lot of people, especially lovers of sci-fi and mysteries. So you're going to get the best of both worlds. So those, I think, are the big ones. Oh, the last thing I forgot. This, like I said, it's going to hook you. But how the book gets its name, I think, is the best part of the first book. And it's really something that stuck with me, because I think it's so cool. Like I said, I don't want to give much away, but I just want to say, like, as a selling point, the book is called this for a reason. And when you find out why, it's like, or at least it was for me. Maybe some people are like, I saw that coming, but I know when I read it, I was like, oh God, like that was so sweet. I thought it was just cool as hell. All right, so final thoughts, final opinions on this book. I wanted to not like it. When I finished it, I was like, but I just couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, it was just one of those, I was like, man, that was boring. Like, nothing happened. I need to get my questions answered. And I was like, I don't want to read another book just to figure out, like, what was going on. Like, I figured if he was going to leave this many, like, open ends, I was like, he won't tie them all off. He won't have an interconnected and woven story, because this is my first experience with Jeff Vandermeer. And I was like, you know, like, I was just like, okay, like, it was a dry book. And the next 2 books are longer than this one. So I was like, hey, I don't want to commit to reading 2 more books of something that I thought was dry anyways. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. I had to have the questions answered. I had to know as much as I could, which is so cool, because that's the whole lure of it. Area X is it's going to draw you in because of human nature's desire to discover the unknown and to go and push beyond, which sometimes it shouldn't. And that's the whole concept of the book. And damn it, Jeff, he hooked me in. I had to read the second and third ones. I went and bought them at the same time. And I think I read books 2 and 3, which are around about, I think, 350 to 400 pages a piece. And I think I read them in 5-6 days, both of them. Just cranked them out, because, oh, those are so good. And like I said, this book, like I said earlier, is the perfect book one for this series. And it's just, wow, blows you away, because so much that you learn in this book won't make sense to you, and you won't realize it until you're like deep into the second and third books, and then everything starts making sense. All these little things that gets pointed out, you start to realize that it's connected and how this story is woven, and oh man, it's just layers upon layers upon layers. So also, if you didn't like the writing style in this, you didn't like that first person, that dry, boring, like science report-esque thing, book 2 is a third person point of view from a specific character. Book 3 is third person, like limited, or third person omniscient, I guess you'd say, from multiple points of views of different characters. And man, it's wild. It really is, because this book, you think like, okay, there's these things, and then it just grows. It does. And like I said, I have to recommend this book, but I recommend it with a caveat. You have to read book 2 and 3. Do not pick this book up. Do not read this book unless you are fully committed to reading books 2 and 3. And like I said, if you're into sci-fi fantasy, like, it's not that bad. Like this book, like this entire trilogy here is the size of an epic high fantasy. Like, it's not that big of a commitment if you're already a reader. And if you're not a reader and you're wanting to get into it, like I said, it's not a big commitment. And maybe you'll be like me and want to get in that whole sci-fi world. And like I said, this is a perfect stepping in point. Not a big commitment, but it's going to hook its teeth into you and it's going to pull you in. And let me just tell you, can't recommend this book enough. Can't recommend this series enough. It's excellent. So, like I said, pick it up, check it out, but you gotta commit to reading all 3 books. So, like I said, I would love to do other videos on this series, and really what I want to do is a whole like story breakdown and kind of discuss every every interconnecting plot line and how these things are connected throughout the story, and what you learn in book 1 really like matters in book 2 and 3, and these things that get pointed out. And I really want to do a video like that. So like I said, if you have read this, or if you want to read this now, let me know down below if you would like to see a video like that talking about it. And like, I'm just a guy reading books, so I'm gonna miss things. And like I said, I want to know if there's something I've missed. I want to know if there's something that you missed that I let you know, so we can talk about that. Man, because like I said, I choose when it comes to this book and this series, because it's just, man, it's just so much there, and I can't recommend enough. But you got to read all 3. So like I said, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you just have read this book. Let me know if you are going to read this book now. And like I said, if you like the content, keep coming back. Let me know what you want to see next. All right, that's all I got for you. See you next time. And until then, stay reading, y'all.